can tell me an animal that lives in cold weather? Levi.
Penguins.
Penguins.
I like
That's
penguins.
right. Jude. A what? An Arctic fox. That's a good one. And Corbin, one more. As an example. A reindeer? Kind of. Think of another one. What?
I know one.
Shh. I'm not asking you. Polar bear. There you go. That's a good one.
I was gonna say that.
All right. So I have this story here,
Where's ice?
and it's called Antarctica. What lives in Antarctica?
Penguins.
We all know penguins live in Antarctica.
When did we learn about penguins and polar?
Okay. It says by Helen Coucher. So what does that mean she did? Raising your hand. Emmett, what does that mean? What did she do?
She wrote the pictures and wrote the words.
Yeah, she did both. She wrote the picture, or she wrote the words and drew the pictures. Okay. Now, now look at your skin. Okay? If you're looking at your skin, can we really survive in the cold?
No.
What do we have to have on?
A jacket and a
coat.
glove.
And can we really stay outside even that long when we're doing that? No, our skin isn't built for that kind of weather, right?
But penguins
You'll
have
freeze.
special feathers.
No, not necessarily feathers.
Special skin.
They have this stuff called blubber.
Blubber.
Blubber is
Blubber?
like this fat that's in their skin that helps keep them heated from the cold.
It's like
So
a
it helps
blue
them.
whale.
Yes, and a blue whale. Anything that swims in like the
In the-
cold waters
walrus.
or in the Arctic or Antarctica where they live.
Walrus.
Does anyone know where Antarctica is?
Yes.
Where is it at? What is it?
The
Julian.
winter.
This is a hard one. It's a continent near the South Pole, the very bottom of our world. Now, who could tell me? Does anyone know what the Arctic is? The Arctic is like Antarctica, but it's a little bit different. Ainsley.
The Arctic has lots of icebergs.
It does. So does Antarctica. The Arctic is by the North Pole. Up top. Who else lives at the North Pole?
Santa Claus.
There you go. That's where the polar bears live too. Okay.
And the elf.
Yes. So Antarctica. We're gonna read about animals that live in Antarctica. Okay. So, in the cold, far south in Antarctica lived emperor penguins, Weddell seals, and Adelie penguins. So we have emperor penguins, Adelie penguins, and Weddell seals. So just a type of seal, like this. Those are the seals, emperor penguins and Adelie penguins. The emperor penguins lay her eggs in the winter where it is dark both day and night. Then she leaves to feed at sea. While she is gone, her mate carefully nestles the egg on top of her feet for 2 months. So the female goes out and fishes and finds food and hunts while the male stays home and takes care of the egg and keeps it warm for 2 months. Right here in between its, they got a pocket, like right in here between its feet that they keep it in. He huddles in a tight circle with his friends against the freezing winter storms. Meanwhile, his mate is feeding at sea where danger lurks.
And there's sauce. There's weather.
A ferocious leopard seal. So this is another type of seal that lives in Antarctica.
I know
And
leopard seals.
these can eat penguins.
Yeah, they got and they got spots like leopards.
Yep. Luck is with the emperor this time. She leaves the water safely and trudges back to the rookery. So she's heading back. So she did not get eaten. She made it. There is great excitement because their chick had just hatched.
There's a baby.
Yep, there's a baby. The chick hatched.
I like the baby penguins.
But
Me too.
the male emperor is hungry and weak. It is his turn to go to sea and find food. So now Mom stays home.
Yeah.
When it is spring, the sun at last shines again in the Antarctic sky. A Weddell seal climbs onto the ice to have her pup. So there's one of the seals.
There's that one right there. It's a seal.
The Adelie penguins have also come onto the ice. On their long journey to the rocky shore where they will lay their eggs, they pass the emperor chicks.
The babies. And penguins really wild.
Yes. The Adelies built their nest out of pebbles. They take turns keeping their eggs warm until they hatch.
Oh yeah, they do make their nest.
So they hold on to their eggs differently than the emperor penguins, don't they? Just beyond the nestling place, some men have built a base camp. Suddenly, the Adelies hear a terrible noise, whirling noise. Helicopters. They panic and leave their eggs unguarded.
What's gonna happen? It might get.
This is called a skua. Skuas swoop in and have a feast. So this is a type of bird that lives in Antarctica.
Oh no,
And they
eat the baby.
yes, and they eat penguins and their eggs. Frightened by the helicopters, the Adelies will not nest here again. So the skuas, which is this type of bird, just ate all of those penguin eggs.
Oh. What's gonna happen to the babies? They're dead.
The emperors, too, are uneasy. They have heard huge explosions and seen ice and rock hurl high into the air.
I think eat that food. And they're gone.
Out at sea, anxious songs ring out from the depths. Weddell seals call their friends under the ice. Metal holes are pushed through the packed ice, banging, crunching, booming near.
Ooh. Those are the helicopters landing.
The penguins and the seals have always shared their world with ancient enemies, the skuas and the leopard seals, but these new arrivals are more dangerous. The seals and penguins cannot tell yet whether they will share or destroy their beautiful Antarctica. So us coming to visit Antarctica can kind of scare the animals there, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of upset their environment.
I could go on
The end. So, who can tell me an animal that was named in here that lives in the Antarctica? Jude. A penguin. Ainsley.
Leopard seal.
A leopard seal. Good. Eduardo.
Witter.
Weddell what?
Seal.
Weddell seals. Good. Corbin.
Polar.
Polar bear. Well, that wasn't in this, but you can count that for Arctic in the North Pole. Not in this,
Nope.
but they do live in cold weather. You are right. Blake, what was another one?
A bird.
A what?
That bird.
That bird. It's called a skua.
Skua.
Yes.
He's
Not a bird we're very familiar with.
In his baby's penguin. Seal.
Yes, so we had the seals, the penguins. There were different kinds of penguins, too. Does anyone remember the type of penguins there were? That one might be a little bit trickier to answer.
See a seal. Dolphin.
There was emperor penguins. There were emperor penguins and Adelie penguins. All right. I would like everyone to go have a seat at their desk. Wow. And get out. Shh, no, go sit down at your desk right now.
Now your pencil box.
Get out your pencil box. Yes, thank you, Lake.
I have time to say
No, you guys are staying here, remember? This is your rotation today. Okay. You guys are going to. I'm going to pass this out. And it says, this animal survives in cold weather. So you are going to draw an animal that we talked about. Polar bear, penguin, anything like that. Seal, leopard seal. You're going to draw that. No, that wasn't what we talked about. So you need to draw something we talked about in its environment. Bree, sit down. So is me and Dad going to the park going to be is that right? Is that what we're supposed to be drawing? What are we supposed to be drawing?
Penguins.
Or something that can survive in cold weather. That has what?
Like a blue whale.
That has blubber.
Like a blue whale has blubber.
Yes, a blue whale does. No count as a blue whale. There's a spot for your name right at the bottom. Make sure you put your name on it.
No.
And while you guys are drawing, I'm going to call you in the back like 4 at a time to do something in the back.
Down there.
What is the fat that these animals have that keep them warm? Blubber. Thank you, Ainsley. Sorry, Corbin. Blubber. They have blubber. Okay. Write your name. I'm going to call kids back that are being quiet. So like Payson, Allie, Bailey, Jocelyn to the back real quick. Just face this way. Okay, now stick your hand in the cold water. Is it cold? Is it really cold?
No.
Bailey, stick your hand in.
I don't do anything.
You do too. It's still cold though.
Yeah, but I love this.
Okay, now Payson, stick your hand in this. Now stick your hand in this. Do you feel anything? No. That's what it's like for penguins when they go swimming. It's warm, isn't it? It's weird, right? Okay, go sit down and work. You try it, Allie. Do you feel anything? Feels warm, doesn't it? That's how penguins and seals feel when they're swimming. Okay, Bailey. Do you feel anything?
It feels weird.
Feels warm, doesn't it?
I just did this.
Okay, go sit down. Try again. Go swim. Is it cold or do you feel? Now stick your hand all the way in there. Does it feel warm? Yeah. It's weird, huh? Okay. I would like Landon, Jude, Ainsley, and Corbin back here. Then go work on your worksheet. Okay. Stick your hand in here. Is it cold?
No.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah, it should be freezing. It's freezing to me. Ainsley, stick your hand in there. Is it cold?
Freezing.
Freezing. That's what I like to hear. Okay. Landon, stick your hand in there. Okay. This is what it feels like when a penguin swims in water. Do you feel anything? Do you feel, is it cold though? No, it's warm, isn't it? That's how they feel when they go swimming. Yep, stick your hand in there.
That's wet.
Doesn't feel, you don't feel anything. So comparing this to how we swim, how this feels to us, this is what? Warm, isn't it? They feel warm. How does it feel, Corbin? Nothing. That's what I thought. All right, go sit down. My lesson was over animal survival and how it differs from how we survive. So I focused on animals that live in like Antarctica, the Arctic, and how they are able to swim in such cold waters where we obviously cannot. So in my instruction, I first read them a story. And that was a good way for differentiating instruction to give visual learners an idea of these types of animals and how they live. We discussed a lot about how they have blubber on their
fur in their fat or the fur that helps them keep the heat in, and that's how they are able to swim. But I read a book for visual learners, and I thought that that was very helpful for them because it was a really good book. It was called Antarctica, and it talked about penguins and seals and a bunch of the different animals that live in that area. And another thing I did also was for hands-on learners, I had a bucket of cold ice water, and they stuck their hand in it, and it's obvious it's cold. They know it's cold. And then I gave them you take a plastic bag in Crisco, and you have them put their hand in it, and then they put their hand in the cold water. Well, when you put it like that, it kind of gives what it's like to have blubber. So they didn't feel anything. It felt warm to them, so it kind of gave them the idea of what it actually feels like for penguins and seals and other animals and how they survive. So it was a good way to show them of how it worked and understand how they survive that way compared to us, because we obviously can't. So we compared how we touch the water and it's cold to us, but it's warm to them, and that's how they live. Also, I tried really hard because there's a lot of ELL learners in our class. There's actually 4 of them. So I tried to focus also on just making sure that I was like enunciating and trying to slow down when I talked, and when I was reading the book, go over words that were kind of hard possibly for them to know what they meant, or other students to know what they meant. And I also tried not to talk really fast. So I tried to give different ways of making them understand what was being discussed by broadening my vocabulary and giving different types of definitions and meanings of words, talking slower and enunciating what I'm saying. And that's one of the things I think I actually need to work on, or that I was challenged with, because I am one who can speak really fast. I need to slow down and enunciate, and also I need to work on giving better, maybe more definitions or ways for them to be able to understand it. Also, I think it would have been cool to add a video of penguins in there and the different animals, because that's pretty cool for them to see. They probably would have really liked that. So they would have really enjoyed that while they were working on their assessment and drawing their picture of an animal that lives in that type of weather. Also, what I would change next, that's kind of what I would change next time, is I would add more. I would add a video maybe, or another way to kind of capture another type of learner that would be helpful for them to understand and learn how these different animals live and how they survive in the wild. And also kind of how all these animals survive like against each other. They kind of, like, obviously seals eat penguins and certain things like that. So I would change it by adding more different ways, like videos. So thank you.